Parks one in the right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. There's the drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. Playing a high drive into left. Back goes to Craig. He's at the track. He has it. And the Cardinals the world champion for 2011.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is the Team of Rivals podcast. No insiders, no anonymous sources, just passionate analysis from the bleacher seats. Here are your hosts.
Here we go. All right, everyone. Welcome back to this week's show. I apologize. You have not heard from us in 4 weeks. That is completely on me. Who cares, right? We have nobody would care. I don't care. Clearly, you guys don't from the chuckling, and I can see you guys. Nobody else can see you because I'm not bringing you on yet. We have a little bit of leapfrog that's happened in the standings. I think the last time we talked, the Cardinals were getting in position where they were getting close to first. They took over first, being 3.5 games out. They were as much as a game ahead, and now they're a game. Looks like they're at risk at least of being a game and a half by the time we finish out the night. So, but still, interesting turn of events. So we got a lot of questions to ask tonight. The first area I want to go into after we chit chat here at the beginning is baseball in general. How interesting is it these days, Pete, compared to what we were watching 10 years ago? Nope, don't want your take yet. Shut your mouth, sir.
You can't ask his opinion and then tell him to shut his mouth. That's a little.
I can because I have the controls and I can do that. But I think it's.
He's giving you the double jointed finger right now. I'm not sure.
Nobody can see it yet, but they can see it now. So there we go. All four of us are on. It's great to be back with all of you guys tonight. For those of you that missed it 2 weeks ago, you can listen to the audio on Facebook. I didn't put it on iTunes or audio version because I recorded and it was recording hot. We were coming in hot and it would have been unenjoyable. And I don't like to be unenjoyable inside of people's ears.
As opposed to inside of other places in a person? I don't.
Hey, he's got 4 kids. He's been enjoyable at least once.
Hey, there you go. Oh, we can't do that. This is a family show.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. How have you all been? It's great. It's great to see all of your face. There you go, Elliot. Yeah, you're tipping back. I love it.
I'm doing great.
How are courses going? You couldn't join us last time, but how is everything going? You got the hair up tonight. Where I'm used to seeing the mane at least when I'm on with you. I mean, maybe. So what's going on? Is it just a study time? Is it like what's happening?
It is. So I was in a summer start program. So I'm officially starting my first year of law school as of Monday is when the year technically starts up. But this past summer, I was in the kind of accelerated, go ahead and take a few classes before you actually start up type of thing. So I'm actually wearing my brand new law school shirt that I just got today.
Are you by chance doing like trademark law or patent infringement? I mean, because we might need one on hand, I think.
I mean, I haven't started, so I can sure throw some courses under my belt for that.
Yeah, I mean, you want job security, be a patent attorney, I think. In my line of work, it's it never dries up. So you might want to consider that.
Will do. Well, everyone wish me luck. I've officially been getting all my textbooks for this year. I had to carry some of them across campus today, and I thought my arms were going to fall off because I've got so many books to carry. So, yeah, and everyone wish me luck.
And thankfully, the revenue we get from the podcast covers your law school. Right? So,
yeah, that's it. You guys giving me a crisp thumbs up is really helping pay the bills.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Elliot, what's going on, man? You're looking off into space. You watching the game? Or you watching the Cardinals?
I'm trying to get that Cardinals game on right now through Reddit onto the
All right.
TV
Anyway,
screen
Pete,
so I can watch them lose.
Pete, we're about to launch into a topic, but I'll go ahead and let you speak.
What? Just catching up? Let's see what's new. Well, the school year started here
every 2 weeks now. So, I've got
or once a month.
Yes, that's right. If you're a downloader of the audio versions on any audio platform, I apologize. That's all I'm going to say. I don't owe any of you a damn apology. We won't get this for free.
So school year started, and since the last time we were together, the boy twisted his ankle. And we thought it was broken. So he was around on crutches for a week, and now he's in a walking boot. And thankfully, it's just a grade 1 or a mild grade 2 sprain. So he's got another week in the walking boot, and then hopefully he'll go into a brace. But the funny thing about it is that when you ask him what he did, he says, I was racing in the park, and we were racing to the picnic tables for lunch. And I sprained my ankle, but I won the race.
Good.
I won the race. Okay.
All that matters.
He recognizes what is most important. It's not even how, it's the result. Nope. It's not even how you get to the result. It's the result, right, Brecklin?
That sounds like a trap of a question, but
yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. No, so what I'm hearing is that he's fine at the get up and go. It's just the stopping part that he has problems with.
No, he took a funny step. It had nothing to do with the stopping. I don't know if he stepped in a hole or what, but the important thing is that he won the race, Dad.
There you go.
And he told when the doctor asked him what happened, he made sure the doctor knew he won the race. When people have stopped him and asked him what happened to it, like seriously, we were at a baseball game on Monday night, the Kane County Cougars game. And somebody just said, "Hey, little guy, what did you do to your foot?" He told the story, and he said, "And I won the race." So everybody knows that he sprained his ankle, but he won the race.
You need to hang like a blue ribbon or something from his walking boot. I think a gold medal would be too much.
I have no doubt that he'll win one of his own.
No. I would do the skull and crossbone thing they used to do on like football helmets in high school. Like whenever you got the hit of the week, the manly thing, you get the skull and crossbone.
Yep.
I had like two, and one is just because I fell into a guy.
Because you
wasn't even intentional.
Then he'll change his story and say they sprained his ankle from running over one of his competitors. Like, I didn't step wrong. I just won.
Hey, whatever works, man. I like the skull and crossbone, Pete. So ribbons, fine. Ribbons, it's not even really a strong word. I say skull and crossbone sticker, like you do like a Buckeye for the Ohio State helmet, whatever it is, whatever it takes. Whatever, like, it's that boy's testosterone levels elevated beyond what
they already are.
All right, good. Really, mine are too. So anyway, as we sail into, I am so glad I'm not going to release what we were talking about before we went on live tonight. But I do want to discuss one thing. Most importantly tonight, we're going to get to the scores. We're going to get to the standings, all that stuff. I sent you guys an article via text this week, and I don't know if any of you. I think Pete and Ellie. I got a ping back from you guys. Breck, I don't know if you caught it or not, but and I relate it to another story. So Marty Brenneman, who's the radio voice for the Cincinnati Reds, is retiring this year. And most likely, you look at the guy's 77 years old. He's done. But I think what pushed him over the edge, what pushed him over the hump, was the fact that he has stated this game right now is boring with what's happening with the game. What's happening with the game is we have a high level of strikeouts, high level of walks, high level of home runs. And it's just not as fun to watch, it feels like. And I tend to agree with that sentiment. Now, I know we can break it down with analytics and look at things and like there is a certain amount of fun with studying things and looking at numbers and seeing it play out in real life. being able to predict, like kind of like a gambler, right? You're betting on the odds. You're betting on what the stat sheets are telling you. But I think to the casual fan who we don't want to invest our time in understanding what WAR is or understanding what OPS is. And then OPS is not a advanced analytic statistic that people talk about, but the casual fan, the people who are just kind of like, yeah, I like that team and I'm paying attention kind of in the background. Yeah, when it gets playoff time, then I'm fully invested. I'm talking about those types of people, right? The kind of get you from a 3 million a year attendance to like a 3.5. And point I'm trying to make is what's happening right now that makes a guy like Marty Brennaman like, yeah, I'm okay walking away right now. I'm not really having fun calling this type of sport anymore. You had Will Clark in St. Louis a couple nights ago, revisiting whatever. Will Clark played for him for 3 months. Before he was ever a Cardinal, Will Clark was my favorite player ever. I loved his intensity level. I loved his swing. And in an unrelated event, my 6-year-old's name Will has nothing to do with that. But anyway,
which is why you bring it up right at this moment.
But he was saying the same thing. He said this game is soft these days. You can't slide too far out of second base. You can't touch the catcher. You can't. I don't know. I want to kind of go round table here and feel like, okay, what's happened here that we're losing announcers that are retiring maybe when they might not have, and you have fans that just aren't as interested right now because the product itself, just something is out of whack. Something doesn't feel right. So I don't care which of you want to start, but I just kind of want to hear what you're thinking here. And I see some people on the chat that are chiming in here. So good, screw Marty. That's from Greg Yaki. He's a Cub fan. Marty Brennaman, he doesn't like Tony La Russa or Dave Duncan either. He hates him. But he's a guy that's been around the game a long time. He's seeing this too. And yeah, it could be a get off my lawn Clint Eastwood moment. But is it really? So we'll just go around table here. Start whoever.
I volunteer Pete.
He's got that look in his face.
Yeah.
Well, according to Elliot, we're crybabies, Ron. So what are you going to do? I can't disagree with the article at all. I can't disagree with the sentiment. The game, it is boring now because nothing is happening. It's one thing. It's one thing for baseball to be boring in between pitches, but when the game is boring during the pitches and all you're waiting for is a guy to walk, strike out, or hit a home run, it gets really hard to watch. As I said in our text thread, I loved baseball far more even 10 years ago when there was skill in the batter's box and movement on the bases, but now it's a station to station game. And, Kyle Schwarber's leading the Cubs with 29 home runs, but you're more likely to see him walk or strike out than you are to see him hit one of those 29 home runs. It's just not as compelling a game. Yes, I want to see the Cubs win. I enjoy it when they do good things, but the game's just not nearly as fun to watch, and it's not as compelling as it was a decade ago.
Elliot, your turn. We're all crybabies. Keep that in mind.
I mean, the game is fun and they're scoring more than ever. So yeah, I understand that you don't see as many bunts, you don't see as many steals from the teams. But you know what? Marty Brennaman also announces for the Reds, who have sucked for the last 2 decades. So you know what? I can't blame him for wanting to retire because the product on his field that he has to call is freaking awful.
Unbelievable.
Exactly. Enough already.
I don't have the exact numbers, but an interesting stat is like Joey Votto's had thousands of at-bats, right, in his career.
Yeah.
He's never popped out to the pitcher or first baseman.
No, he popped out to the first baseman this year for the first time ever.
But how amazing is that?
Yeah, which is also incredible.
Crazy. It's not even realistic.
And he's having his worst year ever, which is nuts. I mean, I thought Joey Votto was a machine. So,
and you know why that happens? Why he pops out to the first baseman for the first time in his career? What, a decade into his career? Because he's not swinging for the fences on every freaking pitch. He's interesting to watch. Go figure.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more. Pete, I'm more in your camp on this.
Yep.
About who chuckled. Who did it?
Elliot.
What?
It was Elliot. Come on. It was a random noise. Of course it was Elliot. Oh, by the way, the score.
Duh.
My
By the
giggle
way,
is much cuter than that. We all know.
That's right.
Score update. Paul DeYoung.
I'll you know what? I'll go get
I
another
was
beer
happy.
and I'm going to
Okay.
open it up in the microphone for everybody. Okay.
Beautiful.
You
I
have to
think-
dedicate it to CJ. CJ's the one that actually asked for it.
Okay. I will.
Elliot, that is your niche, and we didn't even intend that on the outset. But your niche is inappropriate sounds at the wrong time. But that's your thing, man. If we didn't have that on this show, it wouldn't be as interesting, man. You've carved out your.
It's
We
the
wouldn't have a
charm.
show.
It is the charm. It really is. It's actually better than anything I do ever
No.
on here. So I was going to look for something on here, but I was watching the Cardinal game. I think it was the first game they played the Brewers, and they executed 2 hit and runs successfully in 1 inning. And
you passed out from your male member getting engorged. All the blood rushed out of your head because you were so excited.
He stopped by the gas station on the way home and picked up one of those blue pills.
And then he got popped for PED.
That's right.
Right. That is the thing now.
Because that's what they are. They
are players that if you take these things, you'll pop.
I mean, technically, they are performance-enhancing drugs.
Just in
the most literal sense.
Yes.
Like if I used one of those, right, and the commissioner's office says, "Hey, Geddes, we're going to have to suspend you because you tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs," I would say, "You're damn right. Ask my girlfriend."
Wow.
I don't have a girlfriend. That's why you can tell it's completely hypothetical.
But I was watching the Cardinals game. They had they executed 2 of them, and it kind of brought me. Now that's an extreme thing for an inning. That doesn't happen very often. In fact, it's very rare. And even making it more rare is the fact that not really that Yadier did it, because he's been very good about the hit and run throughout his career. He's very good at going to the right side when he's asked to. That's what he can do. What was more rare is that Dexter Fowler executed one. Now, it might have been an accident. It was a blooper out in left field, but the shortstop was out of place, and because the hit and run was on. So it was really refreshing to see runs being produced in a different way, and it's really nice. Think about this, guys. Probably more Pete and Elliot, because Brecklin, you weren't even live yet.
Enjoy this question, boys.
Back in the 80s, the slam dunk contest was kind of intriguing to us, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody could do it in such a fantastic way. And it was only a handful of people that could like pull off these dunks from the free throw line or whatever, spin around 67 times before they dunk it.
Or Bugsy Bowe being what,
Right.
5'7" in dunking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
Right. But since you have all these superhumans in the game now, like a slam dunk is basically like a goddamn layup, right?
Yeah,
Like we're not as wowed by it as we were at one point in time. It seemed like a feat in the 80s and even in the early 90s, I would argue. Now it's like you're 7 foot tall and you can dunk. That actually has nothing to do with your athletic ability. That's reaching your arm up. What the hell was that?
That was my prediction, was that there was going to be someone along the road.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep, that's me.
Oh, it was Pete this time.
Yeah, I've got the windows open. It's
Did you need
beautiful here.
Did you need your own charm? Is that what's going on?
You're stealing Elliot's thunder.
You're great just the way you are, Pete.
It's okay. It's okay. I will share. This is okay.
Going back to my point is like at one point in time, the slam dunk was cool, and then it became too common, and it wasn't cool.
Yep.
Guys, I really feel.
Well, the three is becoming that way in basketball now.
You're right.
Everybody shoots
You're right.
the three.
You're right. The game is
Oh,
changing.
yeah.
The Golden State Warriors have done that formula.
Yep.
The Houston Rockets have started doing it, and so you're seeing
Well, there's
this. I believe
complete
in baseball.
college offensive strategies that are fully on that they're only going to shoot 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And many people, Brecklin, I think throughout basketball, like again, I go back to casual fans, not hardcore, but casual fans are like looking at this stuff going, this isn't really that fun to watch. And I think baseball risks doing the exact same thing amongst many other things, Pete. I'm not just linking it to uppercut swings and launch angles and everything. It's the way the game is being played right now. Like, no, okay, so you throw in the mid 80s, you might have pinpoint control. You might have the ability to change speeds, screw people up where they can't put their hardest swing on the ball. But those guys aren't valuable to baseball anymore.
No.
You have to throw 100 miles an hour, and we have to bring you up early, burn you out before you get through your arbitration years, and then just piss all over you, and you're done.
I didn't know we were talking about Jordan Hicks. Wow.
Well, no, I'm not. It's not just Jordan Hicks. It's a lot of young arms that – and I'm not singling out pitchers.
Well, almost feels like running backs of the NFL, where you
get a 4-year career,
draft them,
there you go,
run the shit out of them, and then you send them packing, and then maybe they can be a backup or a starter on a 4, 5, 6 win team. The next 4 or 5 years.
So let me ask the. We'll kind of bounce to the two old guys here. Is this going to come is this going to cycle out, and are we going to go back to some kind of, not all the way back to when we enjoyed the game the most, or is it? But you feel it's going to okay, this was cool because it was on paper and it was a math exercise, but there is a human element to this.
Wasn't the late 90s like this though? Wasn't the late 90s all about home runs and walks and a ton of strikeouts?
No, it was home runs. Yes, you're right, Elliot. And it was a bit of juiced ball plus performance enhancing drugs. You still had situational hitting. You still had base running. You still had all these other things that mattered to the game and that showed up in the game. It is void of all that shit now. Now it is walks.
I feel like it's still there. It's just not with our teams or a lot of the team.
It's there with the Astros.
Yeah.
That's the only damn team I see that does it like that. consistently. It's the only team I think. And maybe
true.
Maybe the 2015 Royals I could throw in that bucket too. But in modern era, I've only seen a handful of teams that play that type of game.
Right.
So it's never going to come back to that, Pete. I know it's never going to get fully back to our renaissance, but do you think that this bionic way, this analytical way, this on paper, is this if this is going to stick, if this is going to be the way things are, and you're only going to see players, you're only going to know players for about like the age of the Beatles. Like most people don't understand the Beatles were like the Beatles for like 6 years and then they were done. Is this how players are going to be now? Like 6 years and.
Unfortunately, I think so. Rob Manfred is now on the record saying that he wants there to be more offense. Well, you don't get more offense by stealing bases and hitting and running and having situational hitting. You get more exciting and interesting games by doing that, but you don't get more offense. You get more offense by having guys sell out for the home run. And that's clearly what Rob Manfred wants, as exhibited by the fact that they've now got AAA using the Major League Baseball, and offensive performances have increased by, I think, something like 20%. So it's clearly the ball. And you don't send that ball down to AAA unless that's what you see as being the future. And Manfred included that in the electronic strike zone earlier this week. He mentioned that being able to manipulate the strike zone to generate more offense. So, yeah.
Pete, I think your microphone unplugged.
I can hear
something.
No, we can hear you. You sounded different. Like you turned into like you went from
very clear to in a porta potty.
I was going to say speaking into a Pringles can, but that's also fine, Elliot.
We can hear you.
Yeah,
Pete, finish your point because we can hear you totally clear. It's just not as clear as it was before.
Okay, still not clear.
Still not clear, but I want to hear your point.
We can understand you.
Yeah.
No, I just think that this is where Rob Manfred wants the game to go. And he mentioned it when he was talking about the electronic strike zone earlier this week, that if they have an electronic strike zone, they'll be able to tweak the strike zone to get the offense that they want. He wasn't talking, if you're going to do that, you are radically changing the game.
Right.
And he's already done it. The commissioner's office is now deciding how the game is going to be played instead of the managers and the players on the field. And that's an unfortunate turn of events.
Right. You know what? And as much as I complain about the umpires, because I feel like the balls and strike calls have gotten really egregious lately, I still like that element of getting those borderline calls for pitch. I mean, imagine Greg Maddux with an electronic strike zone. I mean, these guys with a really good eye and a really good feel for the strike zone. I mean, they're going to walk. I mean, their walk rates are probably going to increase by 5 to 10%, which is ridiculous. It just. I think it takes out too much of an element of the game, especially for pitchers.
Yeah, I don't like it either. But I think the fix to that, guys, is not an electronic strike zone. I think it is evaluating. I mean, look, the way analytics study players. Analytics have to come into play on the umpires too, where if a guy's like wildly inconsistent, like all teams are asking for when the game starts.
Angel Hernandez, Bill Welke.
But you guys agree? Like all teams want consistent strike zone. If an ump's calling it, if he's calling that outer edge like 6 inches outside, like
they call it all day.
They just want, but teams just want it called consistently the entire game.
Right.
That's where teams get frustrated, is when it tends to like migrate over to a different part of the play, or higher or lower. That's when teams get upset. That's when pitchers get upset. It's when they get ejected. Right.
So I think when teams most get upset is actually not when the umpire inconsistently expands the strike zone, but when they blatantly miss a call, like a clear strike. And I think that's where the electronics we know this. We've seen this, right? A pitch that's a strike isn't called a strike because the catcher sets up inside, the pitcher misses his spot, and he misses it what looks like outside, but it's over the plate. But simply because of where the catcher's set up, it gets called a ball. It's not a ball, it's over the plate, but just because of that, the umpire misses it. I agree with you, Ron. I don't want to see a consistent electronic strike zone like what they're doing in the Atlantic League, where there's a little earbud in the umpire's ear telling him what call to make.
What I job like that though.
What I would like to see is the ability of the teams to be able to give them 2 challenges specifically on balls and strikes. Nothing to do with the other instant replay, but specifically on balls and strikes. And as long as the challenges that they raise are correct, they don't lose the challenge.
Pete, I think that is one of the best,
because that's something that would not take.
No, I'm with you, buddy. I think that is one of the most rational, not irrational. I almost slipped and said irrational. That is one of the most rational approaches. I think. I really do. I think. I agree with you. I want the human element there. I want the nuance of the game there. But I would like the teams, like, they're sitting in their dugouts, right? So you got the opposite hand batter sitting across me. You could clearly see that ball crossed below the kneecap.
Yep.
Like you should be able to question that.
Right.
And
so this is something that wouldn't alter the game as far as pace of play much at all, because that's going to be something that's really quick, right? You're not going to have to slow that down to frame by frame to see whether the ball beat the batter's foot to the base. It's something that they're using radar, they're using lasers. They're going to know in a second. Mm-hmm. So Joe Madden raises his hand, says, I'm questioning that. They can immediately go to it and they will know within
there you
seconds.
Go. That's how you bring in an automatic strike zone, is only on a questionable call. Brecklin, how do you feel about all this stuff? Are you like looking at us like you guys are getting grayer by the minute? You guys are growling. You're starting to sound like Harrison Ford. He's like,
hey, Harrison Ford has never lost his charm. So y'all would be lucky to be Harrison Ford.
Is that what he calls it? His charm?
Except my jawline. I kind of look like Harrison Ford, except for the whole jaw and face.
No.
Well,
Pete, I said except for the whole jaw and face, and Pete even took it beyond that and said, no, not even that. Like your whole soul is not even close.
What was? I didn't want to cut anyone off.
The question was like, all right, so.
Well, no. Like, I understand the question. I thought someone else was about to say something.
Oh.
It's interesting for me just on the topic as a whole because I mean I wasn't watching baseball 10 years ago. I've been pretty blunt with the fact that I got into baseball just a few years ago. I didn't watch it growing up, didn't come from a baseball family, anything like that. So to hear these discussions saying, oh, you know, the baseball that I know and love is like the worst baseball we've seen. It's never going to be as good as what we were. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It makes me disappointed, but I also have to confront the truth value with it because I love the human parts of baseball. I hate the idea of an electronic strike zone. The strike zone to me is a suggestion. It's something saying, listen, we need to make sure that this guy can actually hit the ball reasonably well. And if it's outside of this strike zone, then he's probably not going to be able to hit it well. So, Pete, I like your idea with bringing in the electronic strike zone in that manner. Or that manner.
On a challenge basis.
On a challenge basis. Yeah.
Dude,
And that's
like tennis. I mean, the players can actually challenge on a ball, whether it's in or out.
What?
Leave it up to a batter to challenge whether or not it's a ball or a strike on something if he's called out.
I don't want Matt Carpenter challenging every single pitch.
Elliot, I was going to be a smartass for a second, but I didn't know tennis did that. So
yeah.
I didn't know that either.
But it takes far longer than it would take if you were to challenge the strike zone.
That's because it bounced over to France, and they're like, "Oh, you know."
Is that what the French
I mean, it's all electronic. I mean, it's done in like 10 seconds.
Wow.
Like the in and out call is done really quickly. So I don't know if you guys ever watch a match of Wimbledon the next time it comes on, and I mean, it happens kind of frequently, and I think they get 2, and if they screw up the 2, then they don't get any more challenges.
I see what you're saying there. And okay, so I'm going to try to hit on a few different points from things, and I'm going to do my best not to beat around the bush, but it's a difficult topic for me to talk about considering that the type of baseball that I'm familiar with really is in this second strain of it, which a lot of people are saying that they really don't like.
So boring baseball.
Boring baseball. Basically, all I know is
St. Louis baseball.
Shut up.
Oh,
let's just call it St. Louis baseball.
Shut your mouth, sir.
St. Louis is boring.
Well, let's talk about the Cubs then. Everyone loves Javi Baez because you watch him play and you can tell that he truly enjoys the game. And I've talked about this several times on this show. Okay, hold on, Ron. We can agree that the singular player, like we're not talking about the Cubs, we're talking about just Javi Baez. You know,
he's a Cub.
You watch him play.
He's your favorite player's favorite player.
It's true.
See?
And your favorite player's mom's favorite player.
Will Clark.
His favorite player is Javi Baez.
Superman wears Javi Baez pajamas.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
Will
my
Clark's
goodness.
favorite player is Javi Baez.
I shouldn't even have brought this up.
Get
Anyway, I'm getting cursed. But whenever you watch someone like that, then you can tell that they really have a love for the sport. And it's not something that's driven by money and contracts and whatever. You know, that they're truly out there because that's what they want to be doing with their lives. That's where you fall in love with baseball. And if we're going to turn it into an automated process, I mean, if I wanted to watch someone play a video game, I'd watch a streamer. You know, I don't want this to become so calculated and to where everything's a statistic and you have to have these analytics to be able to understand the game. I personally don't pay attention to a whole bunch of analytics unless I'm trying to learn, oh, well, who's this player? And then I'll look at their stats to kind of get an idea of how they're doing in the season. But beyond that, I don't put too much stock into it. I mean, being able to tell who's doing well and who's not in baseball, you should be able to tell by their pitch movement and stuff like that, just watching them play the game. And that's why I love it. But the point that you raised where everyone's just trying to go for home runs and quicken up the game and get people with short attention spans to be able to pay attention, that's completely valid. And that's what's happening. That's why you like watching Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger, you know, Mike Trout, who, you know, is one of the best baseball players out there.
Nobody likes watching Christian Yelich.
I was talking about Mike Trout for the best, but I mean, it's fun watching a guy hit a baseball 442 feet into the stands. Doesn't matter who it is. It's fun to watch a home run. It used to be, one of the most exciting things there is. And it still is one of the most exciting things. But the level of excitement you get is lowered so much because of how common it is. When you see it from a singular player 43 times a year, you're not going to be as excited for it. So I can understand where the entire thing as a whole is more boring because home runs are commonplace. You have less strategy on the field, offensively for this. And so I don't know how to answer your question, Ron. I still love baseball, even though apparently all I've known is this boring baseball, because I just like the sport in general. Now, yeah, I have also talked about that the Cardinals have been completely boring this season in many different times, except for when I get to laugh at Marcell Ozuna, which hurts me and also gives me enjoyment at the same time. But yeah, besides that, do you have a comment?
Marcell has the shortest running gait I've ever seen in my life. He's like a pair of scissors that are rusted and can't extend all the way. So you got these little short, choppy steps that move fast from second to home. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, the guy's not slow. It's just he has such a short gait. It's funny. And Pete, you've seen it.
Sorry. Score update.
Oh, score update 6-5 St. Louis over Colorado.
On a Dexter Fowler home run.
There we go.
Yay. Good job, Dex.
Against his first team. Yes, all right.
Yeah,
I defended Dex. We all did, I think, last year on Twitter. Like there was some hateful shit.
People were mean.
They
were jerks.
irrational.
Talk about Cardinals fans. Cardinals fans suck. All right.
You know what, Brecklin?
Well done, Brecklin.
Honestly, our old friend. We have a mutual friend from Chris Lawless of the Cardinals Nation 24/7. Yeah, and I haven't talked to him forever. But I can't remember if it was me or him sent a snapshot of just somebody who on one of these social media sites. It might have been Twitter, it might have been one of the Facebook groups, hell, I don't remember. But of just a statement about Colton Wong standing on second. Why did he not get a hit for that? It was a fielder's choice. And I'm like, I have no answer for this. And Chris's response was more like, out of all the social media groups, all this other stuff, I realized we have some really ignorant fucking fans that don't understand what that choice is.
I'm sorry, Ron. Is that what told you that? Or the fact that, it's the road blues why we can't win a baseball game?
It's more of just a confirmation of hearing another voice tell you that rather than just your own.
They blow my mind. If I ever don't know what to talk about, I can just talk about how stupid people are.
There's another jackass out there. And by the way, so I realized that we're at almost 45 minutes into this podcast, and we've stuck on one topic, like the condition of the game and what we think about it. But I think it's a good thing for us to talk about, because I think obviously the listeners have chimed in on this. I'm sorry we haven't got to a lot of comments on here, and we usually do, and I try to. We haven't tonight because I've been engaged with what all of us as co-hosts on here are take on the game. Where did Pete go?
We like to talk to each other every once in a while.
Is he peeing?
Sorry. Maybe. Do you have to know?
I almost wish he had one of those wireless lapel mics and would forget. And
You should.
Anyway.
Just let the man be himself.
let him be himself.
Let him be.
But should we be quiet for a minute?
Do I need to talk so that are you going to creep on it? Maybe he wants some popcorn. I'm betting on popcorn.
I think, is that a popcorn button I heard?
I'm taking a. I would be popping some popcorn for a show.
I heard the plastic wrapper come off the popcorn, and I think he put it in. I think hit 2 minutes.
Popcorn.
With a show this good, you need popcorn.
Pete, are you making popcorn?
I'm making popcorn. If Ron and Brecklin are going to go off on Cardinals fans, I'm going to pop myself some popcorn.
Oh, I called it.
Fair enough.
I eat popcorn for meals. That's how bad it is.
Brecklin,
You're about to talk about a
he
jackass.
wants to pop his popcorn and listen to Cardinal fans like go off on a little bit of a rant here. I think it's fair to talk about Matt Carpenter at this point. Matt Carpenter.
His throws have launch angle.
He's awful. It
is. And
Salsa!
My two Cubs stands here. You guys are very clear on how I felt about that last year, right? Like, yeah. Cute for like a day. Done with it after like 2 days. Like done.
For the salsa thing?
The salsa thing was just so annoying.
It's annoying.
Wait. So update me on what Cardinals fans are they liking him now? Are we complaining? What's your beef?
No.
I'm rewinding to last year when he went on this tear and it was all
No. I understand. I was there for the salsa incident, and then like his shirt.
It was a legacy. I mean, it went on for ever.
I'm still mad because his salsa t-shirt or whatever is like gotta have the salsa or whatever, and it was just hands on a bat that was swinging. The hands had batting gloves. You want to know who doesn't wear batting gloves? Matt Carpenter.
Yeah.
I'm still mad. Anyway, carry on.
I didn't pick up on that, Brecklin, but you're absolutely right. He doesn't wear batting gloves. He never has. He's not in the lineup tonight. He was sat down. He
doesn't deserve to be.
I was going to say he's not in the lineup because we want to win a game. Okay, sorry, carry on.
He was open. We open up a whole can of worms with this kind of shit, like with Cardinal managers. And you go back to Mike Matheny stubbornly like running Alan Craig out there when he was struggling in 2014. Mo had to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Difference here in 2019. Mo unnecessarily extended Matt Carpenter in the offseason. Like no reason to do it. No reason to do it. No reason.
It's because his jerseys sell.
And by the way, so most people that would just lash out and say, well, his contract was up this year. God damn it. No, they had an option on him for the next year. There was absolutely, I'm sorry. Kids, put your earmuffs on because this whole thing with Mo and extending and buying out arbitration years and pushing things beyond, he's lost his fucking mind. In this case, they had a club option on Matt Carpenter for one more year beyond this year.
Mm-hmm.
Extended him for 2 years beyond this year. That is absolutely fucking insane.
I don't understand
with that.
Stupid.
I don't want to.
Let me. You know what? You know what though? You guys, it was also looking bad earlier in the year for the Paul Goldschmidt extension too, and a lot of people were questioning that. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's hurt, and we're going to find out at the end of the season that he has been battling something the rest of the whole year.
Are you talking about Carpenter or Goldschmidt?
Carpenter.
No, okay, yeah.
I think Goldschmidt just started slow.
But from a fan perspective, I mean, this is the same. You and I are Bears fans, right?
Yeah.
So how well did the Lovie Smith injury reporting sit with us?
Oh, it's fucking awful.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's hurt and they haven't,
it was the same. It was worse than John Fox, and John Fox's was awful.
John Fox is stupid. Anyway, all right. So let me listen. I'm a Chiefs fan now. The Bears are my secondary team, because Matt Nagy was my hero, and now he's the head coach of the Bears. So fun fact: now I get to pay attention to the Bears. But this is a baseball podcast, so I'm going to pull it back over to the Cardinals. And all right, so as I mentioned,
we take strange exit ramps on the show that go
different. That was not me.
That was me. I did that.
Okay.
I started with Lovie Smith exit.
All right. So let me.
Exit 5.
Okay. So back on me. As I mentioned just before, I don't pay attention to a lot of stats or analytics. The only way that I know baseball is from watching the game, watching the movement of the players, and just honest to God, from the little bit that I know about baseball, trying to determine, does this player look like he's playing well? Does it look like, whatever? I am by no means an expert. But when you have someone like me who loves the game of baseball and takes a look at a player like Matt Carpenter, and you're just like, it's not there. He's not that great of a player anymore. Thanks, Matt, for all the years that you've been here. I'm glad that you're a family name. Tons of people have the Matt Carpenter jersey, whatever. But even whenever I'm like, okay, it's time to let him go and get somebody that can, actually play baseball, that's when you know that there's no reason to keep them around.
How old is Carpenter? Is he third?
He's younger than all of us guys on here for sure. I think he's 32, 33 or whatever. But that's the other thing with this game that I know we didn't get into. That it's almost like, Pete, is it like a scarlet letter once you get over 32? It's like
it is now.
You're automatically assumed like, no, you're done.
Same in football.
Skills are diminished, whether it's reality or not. It's an age. It's like almost like an age discrimination. It feels like no, you're 30.
Unless you're a starting pitcher.
Let's say unless you're a starting pitcher,
that doesn't rely on
not a reliever. If you're a reliever,
high 90s,
you're done, right? Because they can pay the next bionic arm that throws 100 miles an hour, but really doesn't know how to pitch, just knows how to chuck stuff up there as hard.
Well, that's the problem with Jordan Hicks. I still say that Jordan Hicks had really low control, but he threw fast. It's hard to hit a ball that's going 109 miles per hour at your face. And then the reason why I brought him up earlier whenever you're bringing up the same topic was because Jordan Hicks was the one saying, oh, no, we're not burning him out. This is just how he throws. He feels comfortable. We're not pushing him for whatever. I mean, I don't know. You can't have it both ways.
Tommy John disagrees.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, not to back it up too much, but if it's all right, I want to pull attention to Greg's comment here, which, Greg, I hope you don't hate me. But Greg said, come on, I get he's sucking this year, but his second half tear him out of a legit candidate for what? Right? Talking about Matt Carpenter into a legit candidate for the National League MVP last year. Why was this the wrong move? Easy to say today, but I would have extended him too. Greg, has anyone told you that you're wearing rose-colored glasses?
Well, Greg's a Cubs fan, by the way, Brecklin.
Yeah.
Okay, well, never mind, Greg. Like,
just neutered her whole rant she was getting ready to go on once I pulled back the curtain. But yeah, Brecklin,
okay.
Where you're going. The thing is, if you were not a diehard that's paying attention from opening day to the last game of the season, like you heard about this tear he went on, it was amazing. I mean, Pete, the doubleheader we went to, right? He hit 2 home runs. He had a home run in each game. That was in the middle of his tear.
Why did Pete turn into a zombie? I was scared.
I will save that clip. Let's mark the time.
Oh, please don't.
It's like a Wookiee that was like dying.
What is the show?
I don't know. We've done it. We've done it again.
I love it. It's so good. All right, carry on.
If you weren't paying attention and only paying attention to the time when things got hot, you would think, yeah, sure, extend Carpenter. But if you saw his first 2 months, his last month, and then leading into this year, you're like, there had to be. I mean, if the Cardinals are on to analytics and people are all on this analytics stuff, they had to pick up the fact that, man, something's going on. Like, he's on a decline. He's just not. He's not who you would normally give a 2-year, $38 million extension to.
Again, even I just watching it, I was like, okay, he's not okay
for no reason. I mean, he did it for no reason. And
hey, you know what? Maybe that's Moselak's thing. Just like Elliot's thing is random noises in the middle of a podcast, Moselak's thing is bad contract extensions.
It'd make a hell of a lot of sense.
It's become bad trades. It's become
bad. And Jed and Theo's thing is 50-50 on free agent signings. Flip a coin. Yeah,
and I don't know. That's a subject matter I definitely want to cover with you guys. I'm like, I want to know from you two guys, and not tonight. Let's think about this for the next show.
It's got to be Elliot.
What in the fuck is that?
It's so soothing.
Elliot.
What I would this is my favorite. Every time Elliot something, I need you to just pull something from behind the curtain, being like, "What does Elliot have this time?" Just a clock, a kid's toy.
And there it is.
Yeah.
An animal.
Sorry. I'm living with the parents right now, so I'm dealing with what I got. So
Did your mom make you pizza rolls tonight? That's what I want to know.
Mom,
No,
meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
Fuck.
All right.
Hey, Elliot, what are you doing tomorrow night?
Tomorrow's Friday. Nothing. I mean,
It's Star Wars night at the Chicago Dogs.
oh yeah, that's
Chicago
right.
Dog.
I heard that on the score today.
Boy and I are
Right.
going.
Are you? Nice.
Come join us.
That should be fun.
I'll see if the wife wants to do that. We're going out to Indiana tomorrow, but maybe we can head up there.
It's on the way.
No, it's not.
I know it's not, but it is. Yeah. Tell her it is. It's on the way. We'll see Carlos Zambrano hit 97.
Just gotta.
I want
Monster
to watch.
Gatorade container.
Right.
I
Just gotta make a
so
quick
want to
cut.
watch him pitch. Ugh.
I don't want to see Zambrano pitch anymore. I want to see him beat the shit out of another Gatorade machine. That was
Yeah.
Carlos Zambrano highlight.
So we've been really heavy on Cardinals tonight. I'd
We've
like
been
to,
really heavy on nothing tonight, which tells
yeah,
you
pretty much.
just how bad our teams are, even though they're in first and second place in the division. We have
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
talked about them.
We really
No.
haven't, but I think that
Here.
the subject matter
I'll
of
sum it up.
connecting with the game has been I think a good one. Every other look, we can go through box scores.
Doesn't
We can
matter.
go through matchups the next weekend.
Doesn't matter.
I think an interesting thing for people to, I truly believe that an interesting topic right now is like, is this game as interesting, Pete, as it was 12 years ago? And I think we've talked about it before. You know, I'm struggling with it, guys. I struggle with tuning into games every night.
Ron's going
And-
through an existential crisis.
I am.
I'm with them.
Maybe I'm at midlife. I bought a Corvette yesterday.
What?
I,
like a Hot Wheels Corvette?
that would be the safer bet because I sure as hell didn't buy a real
Yeah.
one.
Hey, if you want to buy one, my uncle, who went through a 3-quarter life crisis, he's selling his. So
There you go.
All right,
Do I get a friends
doesn't
and
have many
family
miles
discount?
on it.
I'll send him a quote.
Okay.
Friends and family discount, right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Tell him, yeah, right. No, I doubt it. He's gonna stick it to me, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
All right, fine. I'm not gonna drive a Corvette. I can't fit car seats into it.
Sure you can. You can wedge it in front, right between the dashboard and the seat.
Like put it on like the Star Wars land speeder, like on the back.
Yeah,
Right. There you go.
exactly.
All right, guys. So we have approached an hour, and I know we didn't get through. We got through 2 topics.
Wait, but Elliot, I think, is going to explode. You wanted to talk about the Cubs.
All right.
It's all right.
No, Elliot.
No, Elliot. You deserve more than just random noises. Your
Hey,
voice deserves to be heard.
I tell you what. I mean,
Elliot, let's
you
go.
may be struggling with watching the game right now. I'm really not. I still have fun, and I tell you what. Watching the energy coming out of Nick Castellanos, the best trade at the deadline, has been freaking amazing. The
I will agree
dude,
with that. His reaction to Chris Bryant's home run last night was
it was
epic.
awesome, and the reaction that he had on Lawrence Holmes' show the other day, I think that it was on Wednesday, reacting to comments that Joe Madden had made about him and his attitude of the game, and how he, every day that they have a game, he comes up as a joke, gives them a fist bump, and says happy opening day to him. I mean, he's got emotional on the show, was crying, just because his transition from Detroit to Chicago has been this huge breath of fresh air for him, because he's on a competing team that plays in front of a big crowd every day. I mean, I know it's the biggest bar in Chicago, but he still gets to play in front of a ton of people who have a ton of energy. And it's something that's kind of given him a lot of life. And I feel like it's starting to rub off on a lot of the teammates. So, I mean, having him on the Cubs has been awesome. And I think they need to extend him. I mean, the guy's young. So big stick, Nick. I'm loving it.
Well, so to ask you a question then, Elliot, because, we're talking about the game being boring now and stuff like that. And what I was kind of talking about before with Javi is that you can tell that he really enjoys playing the game. And kind of like what you're talking about with Nick, that it seems like he's really having fun out there, and that kind of energy spreads to the other players. It's not necessarily that the game as a whole is something that necessarily needs to be edge of your seat type of play. But whenever you get a few key players like that bring that excitement just in who they are and how they play individually,
right?
That's where you find it.
Yeah, and that's kind of how he's been. And the funny thing is, when they said that they brought him in, I read a little bit about, getting him out of is it Comerica Park in Detroit, that putting him into Wrigley Field would probably increase his production home run wise, because Comerica just sucks, and it's a tough park to play in. And hey, since joining the Cubs, I think he's batting like 430 or something like that. It's something ridiculous. It's like 430 with 8 home runs. I mean, he's pretty much doubled his home runs in 15 games with the Cubs than he's had the whole season with Detroit.
Yep.
So, I mean, the guy has just been ridiculous. He might not be the best right fielder, but he's played well.
But he's playing better defensively in Wrigley than in Comerica, because Comerica is so spacious.
Right.
And while you alluded to the fact that he's hit 8 home runs, he's enjoying the Wrigley Field advantage in that he's had a couple of basket shots. He's had the advantage of hitting some balls that were hit on days when the wind was blowing out, and so they carried into the bleachers. But he hasn't changed his approach at bat. And that's part of the reason why I've enjoyed watching him is the guy is a doubles machine. And in Wrigley, some of those doubles have turned into home runs.
Yes.
But he puts the bat on the ball and he runs hard out of the batter's box. And that, I think, is what Ron and I were alluding to earlier. That's what we miss seeing. He doesn't pimp his hits.
No, he is running hard out of the box. He beat out a grounder, I think that was last night, to keep an inning alive, and ended up scoring.
Yep.
So he's just been really fun to watch these last couple of weeks.
I have to ask you, since I haven't seen a lot of this new guy, right? And I certainly didn't know him very well when he was with Detroit.
Neither did I, which is
no one pays attention
crazy
to anyone at Detroit.
True.
No, that's true.
But you think about this and look back at any year your team has made a move, and it might not have been a guy you really knew, but you heard they were trading for a person or they had interest in a person, and then critics, like media people that follow these, that's their job, right? They're much better at this stuff than we are because they can dedicate their whole day to it. They don't have day jobs like we do.
Right.
Unfair, by the way.
Yeah, very. It's bullshit.
But you hear about this, and then you feel the impact at the deadline or when the deal's made, and you feel it and you see it. And sometimes adding a person like what you guys are describing makes a huge difference. I mean, and it may not, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you look at their contributions statistically and you might be like, it wasn't that big of a deal. They're individual. Like if you look at them in a silo, like under a microscope, just that player, like, his OPS is only like 708. But you look at the impact a player like that sometimes has on the energy in the clubhouse, the team, the way they're performing. Yeah. There is something to be said for that analytics just can't cover, Right.
Like Minori Kawasaki.
Well, whatever. But
I think the kind of
what. Go ahead, Brecklin. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, that's okay. I think one second. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. She's given up. She lost the will to live.
Solid. My headphones just completely died. Not if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, sweet. I'm going to make my point and then I won't be able to hear you anymore. But I think getting to like what Elliot was talking about before and then what you were just talking about, Ron, to find heart in the game, you have to have players who have heart. And that's where you're going to find it. You can look at analytics all you want, but that's not what baseball's about. I'm going to find new headphones.
Okay. So she's going to search for a new way to hear us, which is fine. But yeah, so this is a debate. Like, I know this is like hogged up the entire episode. Like, what's going on? Like, what are the likes, dislikes of late 30, early 40-year-olds that saw a certain game being played in the 90s, and the 2000s, and it's just, it changed so quick on all of us, right? That now we're seeing something different. We're hearing the mainstream media talk about something different. We're hearing Brian Kenny, who's the goddamn devil for this stuff. In a way that kind of like, I mean, I know the guy personally. If you went out to dinner with him, he'd probably be wonderful. But the way he promotes this kind of shit, I really feel it's detrimental to the game. Like, this is not interesting. You would never put this shit on the back of a baseball card, ever. You would never. UZR? Really? Look at this guy's UZR. You want to trade for that guy's UZR? No, man, this is not what we look at. And I hate that batting average is icky. I don't know. How you
It's not the end all be all anymore for
on it. It's
none
of that.
It's WRC plus. That's kind
I don't
of
even know what you just said. I hate you.
But you know what? You know what the problem with that, Elliot? What the problem with WRC is? Nobody knows how to calculate it.
No, which kind of sucks.
We know what it means, but we don't know how you get there. Batting average is real easy. Anybody can calculate batting average.
Right.
And that's why these new analytic or these new statistics, while they certainly provide, I think, a more accurate picture, are opaque to us because we don't know how you get there. It's kind of like quarterback rating.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what the formula is for the quarterback rating?
Hell no.
Of course not.
Or guys, the BC, right? Like, how do they rate teams? I mean, it's most people that can dedicate their whole day to this, and I'm talking about people that they do this shit for a living and call us, people like us, lazy for not wanting to understand the numbers or just not. Guys, it's a time problem.
Yep.
For most of us, it's a time problem. We don't have time to dive into this shit every day because we do different stuff for a living. None of it's right or wrong. It's just the way we live. And batting average is a simple thing for us to understand at the end of the day, that UZR or whatever you said, Elliot, earlier, that I don't ever want to hear
WRC plus.
I told you I didn't want to hear it again. But I mean, I don't have time to sit here and have a dissertation on what the hell that shit means. It's not laziness, guys. It's like, we all have day jobs. We have lives. And I don't have time, writers, analysts, like, I don't have the time to sit there during a day at work, log into the internet, steal company time, and study this shit. So get off your soapbox, get off your high horse. If I won the lottery, I'd beat all your asses because I'd have all day to dedicate to this stuff, but I don't. And you're talking about kids, you're talking about people that are going to grow up trying to be interested in this game. What do you want them to look at? Like, why is batting average terrible now? Like, it really doesn't tell you what a player does. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell Tony Gwynn. So Tony Gwynn would have sucked on your advanced analytics, right? His exit velocity is a little bit weaker, I'm sure. His launch angle wasn't perfect. Kiss my ass.
Kiss my ass, kiss his ass, kiss your ass.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Exactly.
I think that's a great way to go out.
It is.
Well done,
I
everyone.
think Pete just showed us. All right, Pete, take us out.
You know what? If you enjoyed tonight's show, or even if you didn't, why don't you do us a favor? Log on to Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud or whatever it is that you use to listen to us. Give us a good review. Tell people about the show. We don't need to go through the whole social media feed because you know it by now. What we need you to do is we need you to go online and tell people about the show and get them to listen to us.
Share, rate,
God damn it, I'm tired of talking to fewer people than I exist at my school that I work at. So Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, on and on. Rate us, review us, tell people about the show. That's all I got.
Stop being lazy. If you watch the live show, just Christ, I mean, do us a favor. Go to your podcast app. Just hit subscribe. It's harmless. We'll be there every other week. Maybe. Unless my recorder's hot. I'll do whatever I can. All right, guys. This has been it's been an interesting episode. I wonder what this is going to be like to listen to in the car tomorrow. But good talking to you all again. I know that we do this every other week now. I know some people are disappointed. I've had a couple personal messages of people upset with me, as though I'm responsible.
Hey, fuckers, listen to the show more often and maybe send us some money. Then we'll do weekly shows. Make it worth our while. You're getting content for free. You'll like what you get.
Hey, and also hit us up on Twitter if you want.
Buying a shirt. Yeah. Don't buy a shirt. You're gonna be disappointed. Zazzle is fucking terrible with printed with Brecklin. Is she talking?
And if you want more baseball stuff from us, hit us up on Twitter.
There you go.
TOR_Ron75.
Thank
TOR
you.
_.
It's exactly what I was going to the iPad to figure out what my handle was. Thank you, Elliot.
Elliot.
TOR_Elliot. So.
And T-O and oh no, she doesn't have a TOR.
Right. Carry on cards.
Carry on cards. She's clever.
That's right.
It's a pun.
We're on there a lot more, so hit us up on there. Even if you just want to make fun of us, we'll bring it right back.
That's right. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks. We love you so much. Everybody, stand by. We'll see you next 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now. Bye.
2 weeks.